Right, anyway, let's get on to the seaside and strikers. Now, this follows off the back of a couple of reasons why I'm doing this one, a rare third video. It's because, obviously, the retain list has sparked a lot of debate with Callum Wilson. Basically, it being announced that they're looking off from a new contract. Now, we don't know the basis of that contract. As I said, I've given my reasons, but it gets onto the fact of who would be second choice, whether Wilson leaves, Asula stays, or Asula goes on loan. Now, we've been linked with João Pedro and RodrigoMuniz, Brighton and Fulham respectively, both Brazilians. Now, I've looked at his stats for the last two seasons. 23-24, he's got 9 and 31 in the league, 20 and 40 in all competitions. And then last season, he's got 10 and 27, and then 10 and 30 in all competitions. So his averages, season before, 9 and 31, that's about 1 in every 3.5 games. 20 and 40, he done well in the FA Cup. Obviously, that's a goal every 2 games. And then you go to last season when he got 10 and 27, so that's almost 1 in 3. And then 10 in 30 is exactly 1 in 3. So he's a 1 in 3 striker. And now we'll remember when Fabrizio Romano basically announced that here we go, his famous slogan, his quote that he likes to put on all his posts on social media when a player's basically signed, sealed and delivered. But this one was the exception. João Pedro didn't sign for it because he came from Fluminense, went to Watford, 2020 to 2023, and then he went to Brighton. Now it looks like we've been making contact for him to come back in again. And now I'll go on to the other striker we've been linked with, who I mentioned just before there, RodrigoMuniz of Fulham. So his stats last season where he scored 8 and 31, which is a goal every 3.86 games about. All competitions 11-36, which is a goal every 3.27 games. And then his overall record for Fulham has been 22 goals in 82 games. So that averages out at a goal every 3.72 games. So he's a striker. João Pedro was 1 in 3. He's more 1 in 4. And yet I'm seeing people online turning their nose up at this. And look, I don't think he's a bad striker. You've got to look at it this way. There's so many people like just moaning and just whinging on. And honestly, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. I'm not going to sit on the fence here. It's pathetic. And the fact that they're saying, oh, win the Champions League, we're shopping in the bargain bin. Well, we're not really, are. These are strikers who played in the Premier League. And you've got to think as well, Fulham have Raul Jimenez. So obviously, yeah, Muniz would like to start more. And yes, Marco Silva might have chose Raul Jimenez more. But obviously, there's a pressure on him in the fact that he was a big money signing from Wolves. And yeah, João Pedro, he's led the line well for Brighton, in my opinion. His overall record for Brighton's 19 and 58, so that's almost 1 in 3. So you've just got to think of it this way. Look, what striker in the right mind whose first choice elsewhere has got a 1 in 2 record is going to come to Newcastle and play second fiddle behind Alexander Isak? No one. No one. So everyone can forget these fantasies that we're going to bring in a top name. Look, yes, we've been linked with Benjamin Sesko before. He could go to Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres, apparently Man U are in for him. They might get him too. And who else? Oh yeah, Hugo Ekitike. That's one who we're all familiar with. We know how the fallout of that went. What was it? His post with Enjoy. But at the end of the day, Liverpool have been linked with him. But we're not going to get a striker who's top draw 1 in 2, who's going to come and play behind Alexander Isak. That's just not going to happen. It's not Football Manager. It's a fantasy world. Look, yeah, there's exceptions. You could go back to Fergie's team in '99 when they had 4 good strikers in Solskjaer, Cole, York and Sheringham. But those days are gone. They are, in my opinion. It's not going to happen now. And everyone knows here, Alexander Isak is our #1 striker. So no one's going to come here and play second fiddle behind him. Now, the only sticking points with those two players is, again, as Luke Edwards has posted today, it's well known, there's a Saudi tax. There is. It's just a fact. And they add extra on just because it's us. And the irony is, we can't spend the money that we want because of PSR. and yet other clubs continue to spend this. But you know what? I will say something on Chelsea in just a moment. But while we're in this PSR world, and we can't offer the wages because we're still missing massive sponsorships, training kit sponsorships, training ground sponsorships. I've mentioned this before. That's all went a little quiet, and we've got to get them in. We can't wait till the new stadium's built because that's still apparently 7 years off. So until we get those in, we'll have to be clever. And while I've said I don't want Newcastle, as we've done before, we've stuck to the rules. I don't really want we're breaking them. The great thing is we've got Champions League in two seasons out of 3, finished in top 7 or above all 3 seasons since How Come Innie's full seasons, that is. And then we've got the 2 cup finals and won one of them, ending with trophy drought. All this with these restrictions on with. And as I said in my last video, £450 million is just the surplus what was left from Ashley's reign. So we've done miracles so far, but we're not going to get a big striker in to play second fiddle to Isaac. And again, it comes back to the Saudi tax. We can't spend it, but they still want to charge with as much as they can. And we're not going to do that while we're aware of PSR, despite how good of a position we're in. I can't see we're going out and getting a second, maybe third choice striker who you'd normally class as opposed to a number 1. Again, the clubs are wanting to charge what, 40, 50, 60 million pound. If we go for Muniz or João Pedro, I think the limit which would pay on them would be about 35 at a push with add-ons. I know you can amortize it, but you've got with add-ons maybe 40 at a push. But we need to strengthen elsewhere. We can't be taking mugs off. But I will get on to Chelsea. I'll say this with Chelsea. Look, it is annoying seeing them just being able to go out and keep spending and spending and spending with no repercussions. However, I've looked into it a bit. Now, Chelsea got Michael Emenalo, wasn't it in? I think I pronounced that right, years ago. They got the Abramovich money. There was no rules, there was no PSR, till they pulled up the drawbridge and they didn't want any new players coming into town. Because City's Abu Dhabi money spooked them, PSG's Qatari money spooked them. So what's happened is the PSR rules come in, but well, Chelsea didn't have them. They've had the luxury of Abramovich's uncapped Russian oil money. Emenalo came in and he bloated the academy. And what Chelsea's academy does, look, since we qualified for the Champions League at the end of 2023, just over 2 years ago, Chelsea have signed 40 players. And what they do, as usual, they bring in these talents so no one else can buy them. They stick them in the academy. They play them in a few cup games. They do all right. And then they sell them on for massively inflated prices. It circumvents PSR and all goes in their pocket. But also, I'm not hating Chelsea here. They're playing the game well. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And the Premier League don't enforce it. They'll allow them to get away with it. It's been reported that Chelsea are building 1,000 hotels in Dubai. And there's 1,000 hotels in Dubai, all under the Chelsea name. So that'll come in as income. And then, as I've said in my last video, the Premier League have failed to close the loophole selling assets to sister companies to register that as income to circumvent PSR. So Chelsea, they've got good accountants because they just take their key assets and they put them in subsidiary accounts. I mean, I think I saw a post before saying apparently Man U, when they've been asked to submit their financial records, they've posted a subsidiary account rather than the main one to make it look like they're in a better position than they are. But you've got to, look, it's annoying, but these clubs, because of the success they've had when they've been able to spend money before this PSR nonsense came in with the caps, they've been able to spend freely. And yes, a lot of it's been failures and they're in massive amounts of debt. But as long as they're allowed to keep doing it, they're going to keep exploiting it. Now, would PIF do that? I've said I don't think they will. Would I like them to? Well, in one respect, it's not really breaking the rules, is it? Because the Premier League have tried to close it, they've failed. So technically it's not breaking the law because it's not a rule. So if it's there, why can't we do it? We're not got something to sell to ourselves. Why can't we do it? But I just don't think PIF will want to do that because you know they'll make an example of it. As soon as we do it, the book will be thrown at us. 20-point deduction. You just know something stupid like that will happen. They want to make an example of it. But while those clubs do it, these so-called darling clubs, they'll just keep doing it and exploiting it. So it's just the way it is at the moment. We've got to be clever financially. As I said, Chelsea, they might be irritating, but they're very clever. And again, it's like a risk. In America, they take risks on this. I forgot the name of it, but you do like these money risks in the States, and it's seen as normal. Over here, it's a big risk. But Chelsea are doing it, and so far it's working. So it's annoying. But apparently in player sales as well, I've seen they brought in £771 million. So in an annoying, honest way. It's annoying, but I'll be honest, I can see how Chelsea are still doing it. And until someone clamps down on them, they're going to keep doing it. And that's what we just have to accept, unless PIF actually start doing it. But again, will they? Because on the one hand, we could do that, but then you look at the other side of it. I mentioned it before. UEFA don't allow it, but UEFA aren't exactly being completely stern on it, a hard stance. There's no threat of expulsion, as I said in my last video, of getting kicked out of Europe. No threat of that. It's just a financial penalty. I mean, it might be different for us, but while there's only a financial penalty there, the clubs are like, there you go. Is that the deterrent? I'll just keep doing it. So, yeah, that's all I'll say on the matter. I just think people need to remember, at 6 days into the transfer window, stop wetting the bed, just be calm. And the Club World Cup's happening at the moment as well. The transfer window reopens on the 16th after it closes on Tuesday. So that means we've got 2.5 months till September 1st. And remember, Kieran Maguire, I've said as well this before, but he said on TalkSport that another big chunk of money is going to drop off the last PSR cycle. So we might just be keeping our powder dry. I know EddieHowe wants to move quickly, but yeah, you can move quickly in your own head, but it doesn't work like that in the real world. And if other clubs aren't willing to do a reasonable, realistic agreement with you in terms of transfer fees and players in terms of wages, like Luke Edwards said, yes, we're in for Mbeumo, but at the end of the day, he's, what Brentford want for him, as we're seeing with Man U, they still haven't signed him, and his wage demands, it's not as easy as that. We can't just go in and just get these players. EddieHowe wants to move quickly, but other clubs can stand firm. And yeah, we just have to be patient. Patience is the name of the game. But that's all I'll say on the seaside. So thank you so much for watching anyway. I do appreciate you watching these 3 videos. I know it might be a lot in one, like, quick succession, but I want to churn them out so the content's there for everyone to watch in the close season. So once these videos are done, obviously what's coming up is I'm going to get into my video on my player ratings for the season. I'm looking to start that tomorrow, but this one I'm not going to promise, because anything can happen when things crop up in life. You know what it's like. You're doing one thing and then something else comes up and it takes your time away, and then you can't end up doing it and editing it. But thank you so much for watching these 3 videos. I do appreciate it. And as always, please, if you do like it, drop a like to each of the social media channels. Please comment for your thoughts if you like what I've done. You've got any feedback on this, or what you think of these situations, transfers, etc. And please subscribe to the channel on social media, on YouTube, and turn on those notifications. And do the same for my friends at NUFC 360, Magpie 24/7, and Magpie Ultras. But for now, enjoy your weekend, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye for now.